All right, Monday morning, forgive the glare. I'm headed east into the sun. I'm headed over to Nashville. I got a pressure wash job that I'm doing. And then I got to come back and finish a job up. Not including drive time today, I'm probably going to put in maybe 6 hours. If it was, if I didn't have to drive an hour each way, it'd be an even shorter day. But I'm probably going to bring in today around $300, maybe a little more, which is great. I'm also setting up another job here that's going to be pretty big. Pressure washing a 3,200 square foot house, as well as doing some caulking work on it. So that's going to be exciting. But I wanted to touch on two things today, and I apologize again for the glare. I'm driving right into the sun. Wanted to talk about entrepreneurial concepts, being an entrepreneur, thinking about yourself in an entrepreneurial way, even if you are employed with a company or you work for someone else. There's still things you can do. But before I do that, I do want to say I am going to interview people. I'm extremely excited about it. Obviously, with the caution, rightly so, the caution of the COVID virus. The cautionary behavior caused by the COVID virus, that's better. It's made it difficult to get together with people, rightly so. I got confirmation, a successful drummer who has been playing with a well-known band now for about a year or two. He's a hired gun, great drummer. I'm going to interview him, and you may think, well, Zach, why would you hire a drummer? Well, he's basically, he has a specialized skill set, and he's thought about himself in an entrepreneurial way. He had a band that was very successful. They still are together, but right now, he's got this really good paying job, and he's going to go do it. He's playing in front of thousands of people. It's amazing. Another interview coming as well. The gentleman that now owns all the Jimmy John stores in the area. Just fantastic story there. So all that's coming, but unfortunately right now, due to obvious reasons, people gotta stay safe, as safe as they can. Obviously, whatever your compass is. Me and my family, we're very healthy. I gotta go work so that we can live. I don't really work with people. It's just myself. My customers have been leaving the cash or the check at the door. I do the job and I leave. So it's fairly safe as far as the whole 6 feet thing going on. But, that's the reason why we haven't had an interview yet. I apologize. I'm excited. Really, the heartbeat of this channel is going to be talking about money and entrepreneurship, but really exposing people to regular individuals that look like them, that don't look like them, that have become successful and made themselves successful, whether through starting a business or working their way up through a company and becoming the executive, a high-level manager, and or ownership, or even someone who just has maybe a mediocre job but is making that money work harder for them by investing in properties, utilizing lines of credit, manipulating their situation to where they have the highest effective, the most effective they can with their, that can be with their money. I don't know if I said that right, but anyhow, it's coming. I'm excited. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about me. We are conditioned from a very young age to think a certain way about ourselves and about our money. And it is not at all conducive to us building wealth and being debt-free and truly having financial strength. I think the manner in which a lot of people handle their money creates a very stable and secure place or situation, which is good. But I think oftentimes we miss out on building wealth at a faster pace or a faster rate because we're overly conservative with how we think about our cash, how we think about our debt, how we think about our retirement, etc., etc. Excuse me. And really what it comes down to is, even if you're employed with someone else, if you work, I used to work for an educational company, great company. I've had a lot of jobs, really. Whether you work for someone or not, whether you have a boss or not, or you're like me and you are the boss. I'm the boss of my one-man kingdom. It's fantastic. Ayo. But whatever the case may be, thinking about yourself from the standpoint of an entrepreneur or as an entrepreneur really will change everything. I've said this before. I'm going to say this a lot more in this on this channel. Everything starts up here and in here. There we go. You can see it now. Everything is about that. Our mind and our spirit, our soul, our emotions, whatever cultural background you come from, whatever you want to call it. It's all up here. And if we can think about ourselves differently, that is the beginning of everything. That is the beginning, again, I apologize for the glare. That is the beginning of literally us going from just making $40,000 to $50,000 a year to making $80,000 to $100,000 a year, or whatever the case may be, however that plays out. And it's very interesting to me where for me, if you're in a position where you're securely employed, you have a good salary, maybe you have benefits, etc., that's actually a wonderful place for you to move into an investment-like entrepreneurial situation. Whether it's you saying, you know what, I don't want to start a business, I don't want to hire anyone, I don't want to take a loan out for a business, I don't want to buy a rental, but I want to think in a more entrepreneurial manner about my money to invest faster. How can I do that? How can I shave off years of my accumulation of wealth and or shave off the years of debt they have to pay? If you have a job where you're making $40,000, $50,000 a year and up, you're in a great spot. You're really, one, congratulations, but you're really in a fantastic position. And I would encourage you need to start really trying to think about yourself and your money in a better way. And you got to follow your own compass. I have friends that are paying their debt down as slowly as possible, but they're investing in multiple different options: Roth IRAs, 401ks, buying stock directly. I have other friends who are in great positions financially with their house. They owe very little, and they have yet to really start investing. They want to start dipping their toe in it. For me and my wife, what we're going to do is, from here on out, my wife's at a certain pay rate. Every year that she gets a raise, that 2% or 3% raise, whatever it is, that's just going to go to the 401k. We don't need it. We don't need it now. We need it later. That was my decision. Obviously, I told her that's what we should do. Thankfully, my wife is wonderful. She's a great teammate and a great partner, and she said, yeah, let's do that. So, but we're in a good spot, and we're thinking about it in a way that's more entrepreneurial, in that we don't need it now, we need it later. And that's something that high-level people, business people, high-level people that manage money, that's how they think. They don't think about their money now. Please don't misunderstand. They know and they have a plan for what their money can do for them right now in the immediate, but it is always for a vision that's down the road. It's always for something that's coming later. It isn't the thought of, man, I got my tax check, I'm gonna go buy a car. Yeah. No, they don't do that. And if you want to go buy cars with your tax checks, if you want to go spend your money the way you want to do it, go ahead. Your culture is your culture. You have to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, how you're going to handle your money. But thinking like an entrepreneur and behaving as an entrepreneur with our money, whether we're employed or not, really can change everything. I mean, for me, my wife and I have done things a little differently. We paid off my wife's student loans about 4 years ago, I think maybe even longer, when we sold our first house. We bought the house, it was flipped, bought it right, lived in it for a few years, sold it, made a good chunk of change, and just put it down on the student loans, and we saved ourselves $500 a month. That's now ours. Before we bought the house, my wife and I keep our credit separate. So some families keep everything together. Some families, husbands and wives have separate bank accounts, which I think is crazy. But what do I know? But we kept our credit separate, And I went and actually refinanced the car. At the time, it was a Subaru Forester. Missed that car. I refinanced it into my name so that on paper, even though my wife and I filed taxes together, even though my wife and I shared the same expenses, on paper, Valerie was debt-free. So what happened was when we were finally ready to go to the bank, we had saved up the money that we wanted to save up for the down payment. We were ready to move forward with the house we found that we're living in now that we love. When she went to the bank, they were literally salivating over her because of her income. Her credit score is very high, and she had no debt. She was debt-free. They were literally chomping at the bit to give her money, and we got an exceptionally good rate on the house because of that. Now, the point to me saying that isn't necessarily to brag, although it's awesome, but it's thinking about yourself differently. I've had people in my family tell me, Zach, that's a bad idea. You don't want to do that. She's going to have all the power. It's going to be her house, yada, yada, yada. And on paper, that's true. But my wife and I love each other. We're committed. We're not splitting up. So I'm not worried about it. And more importantly, thinking that way, although they're not wrong, right? Although they're not wrong, technically the house is in her name. It's her loan. I'm not even on the deed. But now I'm positioned to where the entirety of my credit, the entirety of my money is freed up for me to go do what I want to do with businesses and or properties so that we can build wealth as a family. On top of that, I still got to look into it a little more, but I've spoken with my lawyer. Once I hit my yearly income for the year that I want to make for myself, anything after that, I'm just going to cut a rent check to my wife at the end of the year from my business account. There's some things we got to do to make sure it's squeaky clean. From my business account, for the purpose of having a tax write-off for me and increasing her income for down the road for when she wants to create and or start investing in properties or creating a business or whatever the case may be. But again, it's just thinking about your money differently and thinking about your situation in a more entrepreneurial, I really struggle to say that word, in a more entrepreneurial manner. And it really does make all the difference. The mindless sort of, the bill's due on the 15th, every single every time, every month, 15th. Thinking about your money that way, a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, just that's your mental concept about your money. That your money's not going to work as hard for you as it possibly could because you aren't thinking about it correctly. And I'm not saying that to come off as a jerk or whatever the case may be. It's just the facts are the facts. The wealthy think differently about their money than the middle class and the poor, and even the upper middle class. The wealthy just think differently about it, and you have to decide that for yourself, what that's going to be, how you're going to behave. But I would encourage you, if you're someone who has a good job with a good salary, and you're at $40,000, $50,000 a year, I would challenge you with that thought. From here on out, every time you get a raise, it's just going into your 401k. Why not? Or take that raise and put it into a Roth IRA or an IRA or a mutual fund or whatever. Think about it from the standpoint of the right now isn't that important. It's what's coming later that is. And that you'll see wondrous things happen for you. But again, thinking in a different manner, being an entrepreneur with your thoughts about your money, taking every angle and every advantage that you can over the bank, with a credit card, with your cash, every angle, every inch by inch that you can get faster is the way to go without overextending yourself, because you really don't want to be in a situation where you've overextended yourself and then the rug gets pulled out from under you and then you're in trouble. But just thinking about it differently and not allowing yourself to get in the rut of, well, this is what I was told to do, 401k, pay my bills, got my tax check, gonna go buy a car. That you aren't putting the effort in mentally that your body is for your money, and you are shortchanging yourself. You are shortchanging yourself by doing that. So I wanted to challenge you guys with that today. Think entrepreneurial, start businesses if you can, and or just think more business minded about your money concerning investments. Or if you say, Zach, I'm not really interested in investing right now, I'm more interested in paying off my debt. This is how I'm going to pay my debt down. There are ways to do that. I'm going to make a video here soon about how you can pay your mortgage down faster. But again, it's all up here and it's all in here. It all starts there. If we can think better and think in a more powerful manner, we will have a better and a more powerful existence. It's Monday. Let's get the week going. I can't wait for Wednesday. This is kind of a weird week because April starts on a Wednesday. So we're going to start the month with some motivation. And then Friday, we're coming with the Get to Know the Northman episode. I'm excited about it. It's going to be a surprise. Let's get pumped. Let's go. Have a good week.